My stepbrother Tyler was the golden child. I showed up on Thanksgiving with a $15,000 check and a job referral. He called me a sellout, shoved the check back, and slammed the door. My mother cried. My plan to reconnect shattered that night. I changed my locks. Months later, Tyler's homeless, and I've got security cameras watching every angle. He blamed me for everything. But now, I'm done protecting him. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Growing up, Tyler got praise for nothing while I was punished for everything. He'd lie, break things, and somehow I'd be the one grounded. When I got into advanced classes, my parents accused me of showing off. Tyler laughed. I remember hiding report cards under my bed. That childhood made me a fighter but also someone who never asked for help. Tyler learned to manipulate. I learned to disappear. The imbalance was constant, suffocating and loud in silence. At 14, I saved enough babysitting to buy a used laptop. Tyler smashed it the next day, said I thought I was better. My parents made me apologize. That night, I promised myself I'd escape. I studied nonstop, earned scholarships, moved out at 17. Barbara, my college roommate, became my first real friend, loyal, brilliant, and safe. While Tyler coasted through life, I built mine brick by brick. I stopped looking back. Until Thanksgiving brought it all home. After Thanksgiving, Tyler started texting cryptic threats, screenshots of my building, sarcastic thanks for the job messages. I blocked him. Then came the calls from unknown numbers, voicemails of silence. My boss got an anonymous tip accusing me of fraud. Farber ran a trace. Tyler was behind it. My hands shook reading the report. Her started investigating me. I nearly lost my job. I installed a second deadbolt. Fear followed me home, into my dreams, into my mornings. Then Tyler showed up outside my condo leaning against the wall. Hootie up, pretending to scroll his phone. I called the police. He vanished before they arrived. I filed a restraining order. He responded by mailing torn photos of us as kids, scribbled traitor across my face. Barbara changed my passwords, encrypted everything. I started sleeping at her place. My mother begged me to forgive and forget. I couldn't believe she still defended him. That betrayal stung worse. One morning, my car windows were shattered. Inside, Tyler had left a flash drive with a note, the UI backup. It contained photos from my private accounts, even banking logins. Barbara confirmed my laptop was hacked through old family Wi-Fi. Tyler had access all along. My breath caught. If he knew my bank, he could destroy me. That night, I moved my savings, changed my number. Fear became routine. Tyler was playing a longer game. I tried confronting Mom. She said Tyler was just struggling and I should be more understanding. She dismissed the hacked accounts, the stalking, the sabotage. I hung up mid-call. That weekend, I found Tyler inside my condo. He'd broken in with an old key. He held my photo album, said, "We used to be family." I screamed. Barbara called the cops. Tyler ran. The restraining order became permanent. My mother stopped speaking to me. Family shattered again. I confronted Tyler at the courthouse. Restraining order papers in hand. "You need help," I said. He laughed, tossed a folder at my feet, printouts of every private message I'd sent in college. "You think you're safe," he hissed. Barbara grabbed my arm, whispered he had nothing legit. I held my ground. Voice firm, "This ends now, or I press charges." Tyler's face twisted, eyes flickering panic. For the first time, he looked small, broken, but the threat wasn't over. Weeks passed. I thought Tyler had vanished. But then Barbara's system flagged a data breach attempt. My condo's camera feed rerouted to an unknown server. Tyler had gone underground, hacking me remotely. I sat in Barbara's apartment, hands trembling. "We locked this down," she said, launching countermeasures. I messaged my lawyer. Tyler had escalated again. I realized then Tyler didn't want money. He wanted to ruin me. That night, I wrote a list of everything he'd done. Legal action began. At the hearing, Tyler sat smug, arms crossed. I handed the judge emails, text surveillance, expert reports from Barbara. "Your Honor, this is targeted harassment." My lawyer said. Tyler claimed it was a misunderstanding between siblings. The judge frowned. When Barbara testified about the hacked systems, Tyler's smirk cracked. The restraining order was extended, and criminal investigation opened. Outside, Tyler shouted, "You think this fixes us?" I stared him down. "I don't want to fix us," and walked away. Just when I felt safe, Barbara called in a panic. "Tyler's social profiles have vanished. A dark web forum mentioned a revenge project linked to my name, of photos, fake posts, slander. He'd gone anonymous." I sat numb, watching screenshots pile in. "He's going deeper." Barbara warned. I thought the worst was over. But Tyler was rebuilding the attack from shadows. This wasn't about family anymore. It was a full-blown campaign, and I had to win. Barbara tracked a vump led Tyler was using a rented server registered under Mom's name. I confronted her. She swore she didn't know, cried when I showed the receipts. Tyler had manipulated her too. I almost felt bad. Almost. We shut the server down. That night, Barbara installed intrusion blockers. I stared at my reflection, exhausted, guarded. Tyler had dragged our whole family into his war. But now, even Mom saw him for who he really was. One morning, an unmarked envelope arrived, photos of Tyler sleeping on a park bench, and a note, "He's done, no return address." I froze. Was it a threat, a warning? Barbara ran forensics. Tyler had been spotted at a downtown shelter. No hacking, no emails, no sightings since. Had he given up, or was it a trap? I couldn't decide, but the silence, it was louder than any threat, and it terrified me more than noise ever could. Barbara found a burner phone in Tyler's old storage unit. Messages showed he's contacted an online reputation service trying to erase everything. He was scrubbing his past. We dug deeper. The service flagged his payment as stolen. Law enforcement got involved. I felt dizzy. For once, Tyler wasn't hiding, he was retreating. Not raw form, not remorse, self-preservation. I couldn't trust it, but maybe I could live without looking over my shoulder. For now anyway. The police arrested Tyler after tracking his use of stolen cards. He didn't resist. In custody, he told officers, "I lost everything anyway. They called me to testify." I declined. I didn't need revenge, I needed peace. Barbara nodded in agreement. Letting go wasn't forgiveness, it was freedom. Tyler would face consequences without my voice. And that silence, my choice not to speak, was the first power I'd claimed without fear. 2 months passed. Then Mom called. "Tyler wanted to meet." "He's different," she said. I hesitated. Curiosity won. We met at a diner. Tyler looked thinner, tired. He didn't apologize. Just pushed a check across the table, $2,000 partial repayment, he muttered. I stared, not at the money, but at the gesture. It wasn't healing, but maybe it was the start of him facing himself. I left with no promises, but with lighter shoulders. Tyler started therapy. Mom updated me weekly. I didn't engage much, still wary. But Barbara smiled when I told her, that's growth for you. I hadn't realized it, but she was right. I stopped checking my locks every hour. I stopped looking for his name online. My life slowly returned. Tyler's shadow lingered, but it no longer controlled me. And that shift, that quiet reclaiming, meant more than any courtroom victory ever could. Tyler wrote a letter, 3 pages, no excuses, just acknowledgement of everything. The sabotage, the jealousy, the pain he caused. He said he was sorry, not to fix things, but so I'd never doubt I deserved peace. I cried reading it. Barbara offered to burn it. I kept it, not for him, for me. Proof that I wasn't imagining it all, that healing wasn't naive. That even the worst bonds can loosen, maybe even transform slowly. Barbara surprised me with a weekend trip. No phones, no passwords, no surveillance, just you, she said. I hadn't realized how tightly I'd been living. In the woods, by a quiet lake, I finally exhaled. No pings, no threats, just air and stillness. I told Barbara I might finally feel safe. She grinned. About time, and for the first time in years, I believed her. Tyler didn't win. I just kept going, and I healed. On Barbara's advice, I presented a seminar on digital safety. The audience, mostly women, asked questions, took notes, shared their own stories. Afterward, one woman whispered, "Thank you for surviving." I blinked. No one had ever called me that, a survivor. I wasn't just a banker or a sister or a victim. I was someone who endured and rebuilt. Tyler's chaos didn't define me, my strength did. That moment changed something in me permanently. Barbara nominated me for a Women in Finance spotlight. I hesitated, publicity felt risky, but I accepted. The article shared my career path, not the trauma. Yet when it published, my inbox flooded with women thanking me for speaking up without knowing why. That validation mattered. I didn't need to share the scars to inspire others. Just showing up whole was enough. Tyler's shadow faded further. I wasn't hiding anymore. I was becoming who I always fought to be. A package arrived, no return label. Inside, a framed photo, me, Barbara, and Mom laughing. It was from Tyler. A sticky note read, "Thank you for the second chance. No threats, no drama, just stillness." Barbara said he's entered a rehab program. Mom confirmed. I placed the photo on my desk. It didn't erase the past, but it reminded me some chapters can end quietly. And maybe that's the real twist. Peace isn't loud, it just is. Tyler called me, voice steady. I got a job, real paycheck, not much, but I'm trying. I listened to. He didn't ask for forgiveness, just conversation. I said I was proud of him for trying. He cried. I didn't. I'd cried enough. But something shifted. Maybe this wasn't a full circle moment. Maybe it was just 2 people, rebuilding from rubble, 1 brick at a time. No promises, just progress, and that was enough for now. Barbara asked if I'd ever fully trust Tyler. I paused. Probably not, I said. But I don't need to. Trust wasn't mandatory. Boundaries were. Tyler knew them now, and I enforced them. Healing didn't mean forgetting, it meant living smarter. Safer. When Barbara nodded, I felt seen. The war was over. But I remained vigilant. That balance between forgiveness and self-preservation was mine to hold, and I held it tightly without shame. At a family dinner, Tyler sat beside me, no outbursts, no digs. Just presence. He passed the rolls, cracked a joke. Mom didn't flinch at. It was surreal. Afterward, he helped clear dishes. No drama, just effort. I watched him from across the room, quiet, engaged. Barbara texted, surreal. I replied, yeah, but calm. Maybe redemption doesn't come with fanfare. Maybe it's just showing up again and again, until it feels like peace. Barbara handed me a gift, an engraved flash drive. Proof you survived, she said. Inside were every file, screenshot, and note we'd gathered. I held it, heavy with memories, then I locked it in my safe. Not to revisit, but to remember what I overcame. Tyler's chapter in my life would never be erased, but it didn't own the ending I did. That flash drive wasn't evidence, it was closure. Sealed and shelved, Tyler emailed me his college registration confirmation. "Thanks for not giving up," he wrote. I stared at the screen. He'd never said that before. I didn't reply immediately. I let it sit. Later, I wrote back, "Thank yourself. You're the one doing the work." That message, simple as it was, felt final. Not an ending. Not a new beginning, just clarity. The past was acknowledged, the future uncertain, but the present felt steady. On the anniversary of that Thanksgiving, I hosted dinner. Mom brought pie, Barbara brought wine. Tyler brought himself clean, sober, dressed for the occasion. He didn't dominate the room. He listened, laughed, helped clean up. At the end he said, "Thanks for letting me back in." I nodded. No speeches, no drama. Just a quiet moment, full of meaning, the kind we never had growing up. And finally, the kind I'd always deserved. I stood by the window that night, watching snowfall. Flash drive in the safe, locks changed long ago. I wasn't scared anymore. The fear had melted with every boundary set, every truth spoken. Barbara hugged me goodbye, whispering, "You did it." I did, not perfectly. Not without scars, but I did. Tyler's chaos no longer defined me, my choices did. And as the city glowed below, I realized I had finally built a home mine. Barbara asked what I'd tell my younger self. "Hold your ground," I said. "You're not crazy, you're not too much." I wrote that on a sticky note, stuck it inside my closet. A quiet reminder for the mornings I still hesitated. Healing wasn't linear. Some days hurt, but most didn't. And that was the victory. I wasn't rebuilding anymore. I was expanding, living, loving, even forgiving on my terms. And that, above all, felt like power. Mom sent a photo, Tyler volunteering at a shelter. No caption, and just proof. I stared at it longer than expected. Not because it fixed everything, but because it showed choice change. I forwarded it to Barbara with a single word, growth. She replied, "You too," and she was right. I'd grown, past pain, past shame, into someone I respected, someone resilient, someone soft without surrender. I didn't need closure. I had strength. That was the ending I earned. Tyler got hired at a local bank, not mine. He asked if I'd vouch for him. I said no. Not out of spite, out of clarity. He understood. Respecting my boundary was his first real apology. Barbara clapped when I told her. "That's how you protect your peace," she said. I wasn't cruel. I was careful. And careful ends. After chaos was survival, Tyler still had work to do, but so did I on myself, on my joy. Barbara and I launched a nonprofit digital security for at-risk women. We called it Reclaim. Tyler donated quietly. I didn't broadcast it, but I noted it. Change isn't just words, it's actions. Sustained Reclaim grew fast. Survivors reached out. I met women who'd faced worse and still stood tall. We weren't just healing, we were helping others heal. And that, to me, felt bigger than revenge, louder than pain. That was legacy. That was the story I wanted to tell. At the end of year gala, Barbara toasted to fierce women and quiet wins. I stood, glass raised, and looked around a room full of survivors, allies, warriors in heels and suits. Tyler sat near the back, applauding. No spotlight, just presence. That was enough. My story wasn't his anymore, it was mine. And I had written every page, endured every chapter, and chosen this ending. Not with fear, not with rage, with resolve, with love, with undeniable power. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.